acceleration program, you would have become a better person, adding great value to your teams, either as a founder or as a team member in a team. Hello, Christian from Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. It's great to have you. So great. It would be amazing for us to quickly, just in a minute, just drop an intro like Christian just did in the email or in message section of the meeting. We are delighted to have Mr. Richards, who we'll talk more about him prior to his session. He's one of our facilitators, and it's so interesting to have him join us very early. Hello, Mr. Richards. We're happy to have you. Thank you for coming around. And yes, let me read out our brief introductions. Your name, where you're from, what you do, just very briefly. So while I get that, I'll take the pleasure to introduce myself and other members of Workmate team who are here today. I have our CTO and founder, Mr. David Oyimbo, in the meeting. I also have our co-founder and chief of operations, Mrs. Mary Oyimbo, on the call as well. We also have one of our administrative team members, Bamtefa Lori Shogo, here. And my name is Ebele Jofo. You can call me Max also. I'm Director of Operations at Ideas World, at Workmate Technologies. And it's a beautiful thing to have you all join us this evening. After all of my speech, nobody has dropped an introductory message in the in-call messages. Good. Ahmed Mahmoud. Ahmed Mahmoud is a web developer from Kaduna. Ahmed, it's great to meet you. Thank you for joining. So I have, okay, Christian Akpan is the founder and CEO of Geeky Eye Solutions Limited, which happens to be an edutech company. Great to hear about what you're building. Christian, we are delighted to have you. All right, I have a few more seconds to let this happen before we get to the next thing we have. All right, Umar Adam, yeah. Umar Adam is a CEO, is the CEO of Startup Campus. Okay. Hello, Umar Adam, it's great to have you. It's interesting to have you join us in the call today. So let me just run through what we'll be doing this evening before I pass the baton to our CTO and founder to handle one or two things before we jump back into the session. Thank you to everyone who has given us the privilege to know them a little bit better, and we can get to know others as we progress in the accelerator. All right, so this evening we started out by 6 p.m. with our introductions. We'll be having a brief session to tell you about what we do at Workmate Technology, and briefly introduce our first speaker, who will be taking us on talent acquisition, retention, and fostering a culture of innovation. Then we take brief questions and answers, and we get on to the second speaker, brief question and answers, and then take one or two feedbacks and call it a wrap for the night. We don't intend to keep you here longer than 7:30, and we'll try our best to stick with our time. Thank you very much. So I will be handing over to our founder and CTO, Mr. David, tell you a bit about Workmate and the Workmate Startup Accelerator. Thank you.
Hello, guys. My name is David Oyimbo, and I'm the CTO and founder of Workmate Technologies. Workmate Technologies is a software servicing company, and we render services like building your software products, trainings, facilitations, all those kind of things. Yeah, and right now we are bringing to you the Startup Acceleration Workshop, and we are thrilled to have everyone here. There's a group of techies and business professionals and entrepreneurs. Our primary objective is to create a unique and collaborative environment where technology seamlessly integrates with business acumen. And for our techies, this means gaining hands-on experience in advanced technical skills such as we have DevOps practices and coding methodologies. And you also delve into things like the data governance, infrastructure management, and disaster recovery strategies. And you probably learn things like latest tools for automation and CI/CD, continuous integration and development and deployment rather. So for our business people and entrepreneurs, you develop a strategic planning and problem solving ability essential for driving innovation within your startup. And we'll also cover topics like team dynamics, leadership, talent acquisition, product management and best practices, and market research strategies, and effective revenue generation models. Okay, so the aim of this program is basically to foster a collaboration between the techies and the business professionals, and creating a synergy between that propels your startup, or if you already have a business already, then you gain a holistic understanding of startup ecosystem, promoting effective communication and teamwork. This workshop also provides a fantastic platform for networking, given that there are different people from different backgrounds currently on the program. So you have a chance to network um, with many of the guys on board. And it also provides a platform for you to exchange knowledge and basically bringing diverse skill sets for a well-rounded approach for your startup development. Okay, by the end of our time together, that's in the next 5 weeks, all participants will possess a unique skill set that bridges the gap between technology and business strategy. And yes, after we complete this 5 weeks program, the people that diligently follow through the program will be receiving a certificate of participation. And I'm excited to embark on this journey with all of you guys. Thank you very much. So I'll be passing on the baton to our uncle, Iwul Ejiofor.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much, David. We appreciate that well-rounded introduction of what we are here to do. All right. So thank you guys for your reactions. I appreciate that. We'll be moving straight to introducing our first speaker for today. So I hope you're as ready as I am. Our first speaker will be taking us on product management best practices. And it's our delight to have Mr. Richards do us the honor. Let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Richards. He's an experienced senior product manager. So as I'm talking about him, I expect to see reactions, right? To prove to me that you're hearing and that you're celebrating the work that he's doing, right? He's an experienced senior product manager with 9 years of experience in building digital fintech products and coordinating cross-functional teams to launch impeccable products that actually solve problems while tracking realistic success metrics. One of his core strengths is the ability to translate business requirements into very clear executable work tasks. He is also skilled at gathering and prioritizing product and customer requirements. His competencies lie in product management, product development, product marketing, product project management, marketing strategy, marketing, product launch, requirement documentation, agile methodologies, product strategy, project coordination, and change management. Wow, that is literally a lot. Amazing. So this is the portfolio of the man whom we are privileged to have take our session on product management methodologies. Once I turn off my mic, the next voice you'll be hearing will be that of Mr. Richards, and he will be taking us on a ride for 30 minutes discussing this. It's our sincere pleasure, and I ask you all to join me and celebrate Mr. Richards as he takes over.
Wow. Thank you so much, Evo. When he was talking, I was like, is it me that we're talking about like this? Please, it's never really that deep. Don't get carried away by qualifications and all those things. Yes, I'm very happy to be here, and I hope that the next 30 minutes would be very impactful. I had a few slides. Don't worry, it doesn't have a lot of text on it, and it's going to be just 7 slides. And what I want to do really in talking about this is not just to read out text, is to share insight from my own experiences. So that I think that what I find that those kinds of things help to, it makes concepts to sink in. So please let me know if you can see my screen, please. I can't see.
Yes, sure, we can see your screen.
Great. Okay, thank you so much, Ibu. So this is just something brief I prepared for this, and for me, my demographic or the perceived demographic here is for tech enthusiasts, business professionals who understand product management, how it works, and how, of course, it can be used to pretty much enhance their business performances. So, yes, I've reeled out all the companies I've worked in here. So, just a brief introduction or a brief detail about myself. I started out a company called Zone, and you can Google all these companies. They are popular fintech companies. I've been very privileged to work in these companies in different capacities, but from eTransact, I actually started because that's when I actually had the title product manager. That's a popular switching company. I've worked in lending, carbon, Agile card agency banking. Branch brought me back to lending. Migo was a B2B lending platform, and then I'm currently at Rover. Rover is the fintech arm of FCMB. I'm sure you know the bank FCMB, and I'm currently the product manager for the Nigerian side of the business because it's a remittance product primarily, and that's what I've been doing for almost a year now. And I think you would see as I communicate and try and explain product management, how all of these have helped to shape and improve my skill set, and also to then see the value of product management. Something I'm mentioning here in the third point is that product management is the backbone of successful tech products, guiding them from concept to marketing to markets, from concept to when it launches in the market, which is very different from project management. Now, I felt I needed to emphasize this because I always find that a lot of people think that product management is project management. So let me give you this example. When a mother gets, a woman gets pregnant, that day or when the whole journey begins is conception. That's what's called product ideation. That's where it begins. And then, of course, it begins to grow until the baby is born. The child is born, and then you find that the mother continues her job forever. As long as that child is alive in a healthy relationship, of course, with the mother, that mother would always be, that child will always be the mother's child. And the mother will always feel like she has an account, she's accountable for him or take care of him and all of that. So project management is more focused on, if you want to look at it, and I'll wrap everything together very quickly. Project management is more like, I'm focused on time, and as you see in real life, you see this: time, scope, cost. A project manager, when it comes to the context of a project, only cares about how long is it going to take to do it, what is the scope of what is being implemented, and what is the cost, and of course, how can I get the cost to be lower. And projects have strict time frames. So at the end of the day, it's going to be 9 months, like in the case of pregnancy. Afterwards, the project manager is done. If a project manager does not care whether the child or baby, quote unquote, lives or dies, I've done my job, I have given you this baby project, and that's it. That's the difference. But a product manager is like the mother. Everything from ideation up until when that child dies, as it were, if the mother lives long enough, that mother is involved, and that's the idea of product management. It's not just pick and drop, and then I've delivered the project, I've delivered the baby, and my work is done. Almost like how you have a surrogate mother, right? A surrogate mother is a probably good example of this. That one just cares about, I'm just going to carry this baby, conception, give it to the baby, and hand over to somebody else. That's a typical example of project management. But the actual birth mother, who's actually going to be there to take care of a child, that is the representation of product management. I wanted to use this example to drive it home. So like all the products I've ever learned, I used to call them my babies because I feel such an attachment to them, especially those ones I've had the privilege of handling from when it's an idea to when it is the market and people are using it and you're ideating and improving on it. That sense of ownership is what product management is all about. A product manager can wear as many hats as possible. So a product manager can wear the hat of a project manager sometimes. The product manager can also wear the hat of QA to test. The product manager can also wear the hat of design when required. In fact, I know some PMs that code as well, and they would also code if it gets to it. So it's like product management, the product manager does everything that needs to be done to ensure that, the product is launched and is successful and is solving a problem. So if it means that you have to be marketing, you will be marketing. A typical day in the life of a product manager, not the one you see on YouTube where they are eating food and they're running up and down, is, a typical product manager, some days I am marketing, trying to use strategies to drive people to use my product. Some other days, I am firefighting problems that happen on production. So customers are trying to do X, is failing, and I'm trying to work with the engineers to fix it. Some other days, I'm doing strategy for the product, or trying to create a product roadmap. So you do whatever that is required to ensure that you launch something that is useful, that people are using. So that's enough of this page. Let me move on. So in terms of the I want to be sure, is anybody hearing me? So that I will not just be talking and assume that people are hearing me.
Loud and clear.
Great.
Loud and clear.
Okay. And Abu, please, if I'm beginning to talk too much, just come and stop me. Thank you, because I'm not the only person here. The first thing in terms of product management best practices is to be customer centric. And I just put it here, put customers first. You are not building a product for yourself. Yes, and I can say that again. You're not building a product for yourself. Because you're not going, even if you're going to build something you're going to use, and that's good, but does that bring any money to your pocket? Most likely not. So when you want to build a product, you first of all need to understand what are the customer's needs and pain points. That is where ideation begins. It's not from, you saw somebody do something and you felt like you need to do it. Or maybe you think even if you think you have a personal experience and like, this thing is actually very much needed. Or I really should build something to solve this problem. That's not the reason why you go and hire a full team, because you just had a little discomfort and you feel I need to build a product for this. And then you just gather and hire front end, back end, get everybody and designers because you want to solve that. So understand, even if that's the case, try and find out if that's actually a problem worth solving, or if that problem has been solved somehow and how it was solved. So that's, first of all, when you have an idea, validate it. And that's why some ways of doing it to conduct user interviews and surveys, and there are so many ways you can do this, of course. So, but first of all, know that, and that leads to the third point, which I'll just wrap up, is that you're building a product that is solving a real problem. Don't go and be building a product that you may not know that somebody has solved it for it in China, but it's been solved, but you don't know, and then you just go and then reinvent the wheel, as it were, and then there's no more traction. Or, the point I'm trying to make is don't just sit down and just say, okay, this is a problem. You come up with a problem that you think is your delusional, as it were. Look for actual problems, and how you will know that you are solving a real problem is when you are examining the pain points or needs of customers in that segment. And then you now say, okay, I have discovered that, okay, there is a gap here. And now I want to be able to solve for this. So this is the point I'm trying to make here. And of course, there are different tools you can use to get customer feedback. SurveyMonkey, Google Forms. If you have an app already, you can use in-app feedback. But if you're starting something from scratch, typically you use a SurveyMonkey or Google Forms. So Slack did that, of course. They did plenty of beta testing, before they launch. And this is also a way of gathering feedback when you are building something. So this says you've done something small, like a prototype, as it were, and then you're letting people to just play around with it. Also a means of gathering data. But when you're starting from scratch, typically you need to know who is the demographic, who are the demographics that are having this problem that I think is a problem that needs to be solved. What are their pain points? How are they currently solving these problems? What are they using to do it? So for instance, let me use Rover, like where I am right now. So Rover is providing unique services where you can have remittances happen. You can, as a Nigerian, you can create a GBP, a British pound account. You can create a dollar account from Nigeria. Now, when you have, I know that you will say the other guys have it like Graves and the rest and all of that. But the challenge with most of those is that those are typically not backed by banks. Most, as you have probably heard, most of the stories of most of those people, they are having so many challenges here and there with regards to so many things. But the idea is, as a Nigerian, because it's under the FCMB group banner, you can create an account, a GBP, a USD account. I'm not trying to market for them. I'm just trying to give an example there. And you can get a multi-currency card that you can use anywhere in the world. You now have savings vaults as well. You can create a fixed deposit account, get interest in Naira up to 20% if you want. You can save in dollars and save in pounds as well on the app. And then, of course, as a freelancer, as many people are doing right now, if you have a client that pays you in dollars or pounds, all you need to do is give them your account number and your GBP account number, your USD account number, and it's funded. And then you can remit it to Naira, of course, at a rate that will be determined by the bank. That exists right now today as I'm speaking to you. You can go to store and download it, but we just started a controlled commercial launch and all of that. For me, that is a real problem solved, because I personally know a lot of people who are earning in dollars or earning in pounds, and always trying to get the money into Naira is a big problem. That's an example of it. So we are not targeting, it's not OPay, for instance. It's not all the mass market apps. It is specifically for those kinds of demographics, and then people who want to be able to save in dollars, in pounds, and even in Naira if they want to. And of course, you have the other vanilla things like bills payments, transfers, cards will come up, or Naira cards will come up. You already have a multi-currency card. All of those things coming, even virtual cards as well that are linked to those accounts. So that's a differentiating offering from others. That's a real problem that we saw that actually had to be solved. And now, if you can listen to what I'm saying, there is specific demographic. So for instance, when we have our meeting and all of that, we always remind ourselves that this is not a mass market retail product. It's for specific people, and that's where you make the money from. So when you think about understanding your demographic, understanding the pain points that they're having, of course, using surveys and interviews, and then you can now say, okay, this is a real problem. Now, how am I going to solve the problem? Okay, so I think I don't know if someone dropped the question or raised their hand, but let me just run through quickly. So the other best practice here is defining a product vision and strategy. You have to be very clear on what you want to achieve. A strong vision, of course, will guide the team and align efforts so that you are not just doing every and anything. And I found this to happen with lots of founders where I've worked with very, very wealthy type of founders, and they go to Ikoyi Club because I live in Lagos, and they're all sitting there and speaking their English. I don't know, some of us have noticed the way some of these tech bros, all these senior people talk, and they're just talking about different things. And before you know it, Monday morning, somebody has come, or guy has come. This is what we want. This is what we are going to do now. I had a conversation with that person now, and then everybody's like, but so many times, whenever I can influence, I'm like, hey, let's calm down. Why are we actually doing this? Because sometimes, as some of my colleagues say, they used to say that's Oga-driven development. I've worked in those kind of companies before. They'll just come and say, what we should do. But one of the best practices of product management is you should have a clear product vision. So for this product I'm trying to launch, or I want to do, what is the vision? What do I see? How do I see this come into play to solve problems? And of course, things like your demographic or specialized offering, all those things come into play, so that you are very clear on what you are doing. So for instance, you will never hear that Tesla is doing a car that runs on fuel. You will not hear it. Elon Musk will never do that. Everything he's thinking about is just his mind. He's a crazy person. His product vision is clear. So sustainable transport, and that is not, and sustainable transport is not even for him. It's not even just on Earth. That's why the guy is going to space all the time. He's having those. So that is his vision. So you not see Elon Musk or Tesla saying that they want to do, for instance, they want to get into maybe doing groceries and foods, or opening retail stores to sell food. That's not the vision. So Elon Musk cannot go and sit down with another partner, maybe the guy that runs Amazon. I've forgotten the guy's name now. And they were like, oh, I want to get involved in e-commerce retail. I want to do cakes. I want to do pastries, for instance. That's out of the vision, right? For some other people, that will be all that they focus on. But product management best practice is that you need to have a clear vision. And then, of course, you ensure that your vision supports all your business goals that you define. And then you have a strategic roadmap. And this is where product managers come in. You have your major milestones and your goals. You can have a short-term roadmap. You can have a long-term roadmap to say, okay, split it into 3-4 quarters. Q1, based on this vision that we have, based on these goals we're trying to achieve, I want to build, I want to build let me just use the example of Rover again. I want to build this remittance thingy. So first leg, I want to build the payments rails for Naira payments. I want to use the whole of Q1 to do it. And this is purely on the back end, for instance. On the front end, I want to complete the designs for what that's going to, or for the designs for the product. Then I want to work on the remittance rails that will be able to move funds from outside of the country into Naira. You're going to spend maybe the whole of Q2 doing that. So you create a roadmap, and you can use even PowerPoint to even do those things. There are tools to use for it. There are tools you can use for it, but you can use anything. It's just a graphical representation of, okay, so here's what's going to happen and all that. And then you can also now have much more granular, what I call implementation plans of every single activity that needs to happen. Of course, everything has to be iteratively done, because you cannot just sit down and say this is everything that needs to be done. As you go on, you will find that there are new things that you need to add, things we need to remove, and all of that. So remember that you must have a roadmap. That roadmap guides you. Of course, the roadmap is not cast in stone. As market realities changes, as things happen, you will need to adjust your roadmap. But you should not have anything on there that is way outside of the product vision, right? It should tell a story as to what you're trying to achieve, right? So it's important to remember that. Agile methodologies, and this is, everybody probably will know about what this is about. You have things like Scrum, you have 2-week sprints, you have Agile ceremonies, you have sprint retrospectives. This is when you're trying to develop and launch a product. So, but the overall idea here is this: you cannot afford to be rigid. You don't need to do everything at once to launch. You can launch semi-manual products. I have done it before. When I was at, what was I doing? I can't remember the company I was at, where you're giving them an interface to do something on the front end, but that data is logged into an Excel sheet, or it's logged into some document that there's an S3 bucket. And sorry, let me not get technical. And you just go there and just pick what you need there, and you're manually doing calculations for things and all of that, because you were trying to validate something. Sometimes when you're trying to validate something, is what you may have to do. But even sometimes you can launch products and it doesn't have to be perfect from day one. The important thing is, and I didn't mention this here, you need to have an MVP. Okay, these are all the things we need to do. What is that one feature that I should have, I should launch, that my customers can use from day one, that will provide value? So you now, and this is where product managers have to. This is where you get this is your bread and butter. You get what that is. So you're looking at it in terms of giving value, and most likely also bringing revenue, and agree on what that MVP is, and say, okay, this is why this is going to be the MVP. The thing that I'm going to build first that will give the most value and probably help us to get some cash as we start. And then you focus on doing that. And then you can say, okay, now that I've done this, you release incrementally. And then I won't say everybody should do 2-week sprints. Sometimes it's not realistic. The way I work with my team, we run 1-week sprints because I don't have time for 2 weeks. I want stuff ready and done. Every 1 week, we're doing a demo, seeing what they have done. We're doing retrospective, we're moving on to the next sprint. So these things are just guides, how Scrum and everything, they are guides at the end of the day. You just choose what works for you. But the overall idea is that you must be agile. You are incrementally delivering value. And there's nothing much better than that, because what's happening is that you've launched something, you're getting feedback from customers who are using what you have launched, and that is already guiding how you make an improvement to the next release. And you release the next one, and then you're getting feedback, and that guides you. And all of a sudden, that's how these products go. So don't sit down and say, I need to build everything first. And you spend 6 months trying to build something, and it goes out to the market and is redundant because everybody has moved on. Or somebody else that works faster than you has launched a product that is solving that problem. So what will now be the value of coming to you? So that's why it's important to move fast, because right now, every single day, products are being launched, people are solving problems, and I still believe there are still more problems that are yet to be solved, but you need to move fast. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, 1 second, please. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
can hear you.
Yes.
Yes. Able, let me know if I'm talking too much, so I will just start rounding up. Don't worry, I'll soon finish. Okay.
All right, Richard, we have about 8 minutes left on your time.
8 minutes. Okay. Don't worry, I'll soon be done. All right.
Yeah.
So another key thing for product managers in terms of product management best practices is you need data. You cannot run blind. Data is how you're going to know how you're truly performing. Now, typically in product management, I didn't put that here. When you're going to start, the product manager will have a product requirements document that would have all sorts of information about the product, how it's going to work, everything else. And typically in my own priorities, I have metrics. So how will I know that this product that I've launched is successful? And every product manager should do this, even when you're doing product management. So here are the 4-5 things I'm looking at that if this is happening, I know that this product is successful. So you have things like DAO, MAU, and all of that, monthly active users, daily active users, churn rate. Churn rate is people just come in and how quickly do they actually go, for instance. People come and use your product and use it once or twice, and then that's the end. That may be if someone just comes and uses it once or just logs in, yeah, and just plays around, or people are just logging in but I'm not doing anything. That's a problem. It's okay. Maybe there's something wrong with the UX. Maybe people don't know what they can do with it. Maybe there's an information problem. Maybe I need to rearrange the UX so that people can actually know what to do. And then you're seeing daily active users. You can define what daily active user means. So for a fintech product, if I look at daily active users, how many people use my app today transaction today? It could be a remittance, it could be a transfer, it could be someone that created a savings vault, a fixed deposit, or someone that paid a bill. Those are people, that's what I'm tracking. And I'm tracking monthly active users as well. I'm seeing people who started at the beginning of month, they onboarded today. Month 1, they were very active, but month 2, they're no longer active. And then you just see that in a chart as people come in and they just drop off as it were. That is very important to give you an idea as to what you need to be looking at as a product manager. It's a best practice. If not, you will not know when something is going wrong. And many times you will say, I'm using the app, I'm using the fact that you are using your product as a product manager, you have a bias of, but the fact that you're using doesn't mean that everybody's using or everybody sees value in it. That's why it's very important to track performance. If not, you are a project manager, because the project manager will just ensure that that product is launched and will move on to the next project. He doesn't care whether he is performing the way it's planned or not. That's where you come in as a product manager. You say, I've launched this. We said we're expecting to have 5,000 daily active users and then 10,000 monthly active users. But at the end of the first month, we were just having 200 daily active users and 100 monthly active users, or something like that. So the question will now be, what's the problem? That takes me to the next point. There are different tools you can use for data collection. Mixpanel is so popular. I've used that before as well. The Google Analytics. So Mixpanel, for instance, you can log every event that happens on your product, be it a mobile app or be it on the web. And you can log every event. Somebody comes to a page and drops off. If someone knows what has happened, someone tries to do something, it fails, So that way, you can sit as a product manager and take a look. It even helps you to analyze what you have done, even in your UX, and say, okay, people are dropping off here. It sounds like something on this page is very confusing. So let me try and fix it and let me try it again and see. So that helps you to collect data, and then you're very much informed on what you need to do. That's how product managers succeed, and that's how you have very good products, right? And then let data inform your product decisions and every single thing that you do. So you analyze user behavior and feedback. Let that now guide you as to how you're going to improve the product. Facebook, of course, does it as a Meta. They do this very well. Pretty much every FANG, like they call them, all these top 5 tech companies, it's just standard practice for them, right? They use big data to be able to understand, because big data it's just like you're just downloading so much information about a person, like Netflix. So that's why you see that. And when you go on Netflix or you go on Instagram, you go to explore, you find that You're seeing recommendations based on your likes, based on the reels you have watched, based on the posts, that you're interacting with, and they sort of get a sense of, okay, these are the kind of thing that this person likes, so let me give the person more of this. And even the creepy ones, as often as you're talking about, I need to buy a watch, and then you go online and then you're just seeing watch ads everywhere. Well, sadly, it's part of analytics. They are listening to you as well, and they are picking out keywords and just trying to push that to you as well. To be honest, it's creepy, but it's actually part of ensuring that their product is successful. And they are giving. So if you don't take all of it, you wouldn't even know. You would just find yourself shopping for a new watch. I'd be like, I didn't search for this. You just see the ads everywhere. Those kinds of things. So that's impeccable product management, but a bit creepy. But then it works for them because that's how they make their money, right? So another key thing. Oh, I'm already almost done. I'm happy. So is a product manager is a communicator, and you cannot do product management in isolation. You need to collaborate with other teams: engineering, design, marketing, sales, operations, wherever it is that you need to carry them on board sometimes from the very beginning. You need to engage them throughout the process, even when you're live and people are using it. You need to engage. You cannot do it alone. You definitely cannot be an island as a product manager. So product management best practices that you have to collaborate with lots of teams. And then, of course, you need to have cross-functional meetings, and you need to write a lot of documentation. And you need to ensure that yourself, design, engineering, the guys writing the code, marketing, who are helping you sell the products, they all have the same understanding like you have. And this thing called OKRs, objectives and key results, I find that framework it works for me so much. I love it because as a product manager, it gives me focus. So for instance, let me show you how this works. I can have an objective. My objective is to, let's say, launch debit cards in Q3 for Rover. Let me put it that way. Oh, I even did it when I was in branch, funny enough. What are the key results? What are the things? What are the 2-3 key things that I must do? And they must be measurable. You can't just put letters there. You won't just say launch it. What does launch? How will I know that I have launched it? So one, I have issued 5,000 debit cards. I am now recording up to X amount in transaction volume from cards and all of those things. So you're putting numbers that are there. So at the end of Q3, when you're going to review, the question is, here was your objective. Here are your key results. Well, what was the gap? Did you achieve it or did you not achieve it? So every day, as a product manager for that product, I am looking at those and I'm figuring out, what can I do today to help me achieve my key results? There are numbers, actual numbers that you're supposed to achieve. So every day in that quarter, that's your focus. And then you engage whoever you need to engage and say, these are our goal. And this is where collaboration comes in. How do we achieve this? And everybody joins heads together. Marketing needs to do some ads. Fine, let them go and do it. You need to make the card request process easier. Go and get it done. Make the interface much quicker. You need to make the delivery process seamless. Go and make it happen. So that's the best practice. And of course, you have a culture of collaboration, innovation. You can't sit down and innovate by yourself. Sometimes the best ideas they come from someone that is in operations, because they're on the ground, as it were, doing the hard work, and they can give you impeccable ideas, or even people in customer success who are dealing with the customer. They can come and give you insights that sitting down in your office on your computer you would never have gotten. So that's the end of my story. I don't know if you have any questions or comments. I hope that I have not taken too much time. I hope that with these few points of mine, I've convinced you and not confused you that you should practice product management well. All right, Ebu,
amazing. Thank you so much. It was like you had a stopwatch timer with you, and you just stopped right on time. And this has been a really immersive time. From the reactions, you can tell that our people got a lot of value. If someone didn't want to study product management or practice product management, I think you've given a motivation speech now for all of us to go into product management, and that's amazing. When you even said you were not marketing for Rover, trust me, you did, because I was right on App Store trying to download Rover. I didn't know they had all of the features you talked about. So yeah, because of our time, before we appreciate you finally, we have 3 questions. Mololua, you can type your question now while I'll so his question is right here, so I'll read it out. Thank you so much for an insightful session, Mr. Richard. As a beginner who has carved a niche in communications, I am even more confident about threading this part, that is product management. What's your recommendation on how to start, please? That's our first question.
Okay, so what I would recommend is it will be good for you to have, there are different places where you can get trainings on product management. Since you're a beginner, it's important to understand the full life cycle of product management. And many of them, their names just escape my mind right now. Maybe if I find some, I can share it with the founder and co-founder much later. But basically, the idea is understand product management end to end. Most of these training centers or wherever it is programs, they will make you do a capstone project or where you actually launch a product. I think that would be very helpful for you so that because since you don't have any background in it, you need to see the different moving parts of product management. So from, like I said, from ideation to validating your assumption or your idea to moving on to implementing, writing the documentation, engaging engineers who are going to write the code, engaging design, who's going to design it, whether it's a web product or whether it's on a mobile app, even whether it's even on USSD, you have to design it as a product manager. You need to understand how APIs work and things like that. All of that, right, will be helpful to begin with at least. Now, when you've done that sort of training, it will now be to say, okay, look for unpaid, volunteer for internship opportunities. That's what I would say. At this point, you don't begin to look for $10,000 a month. You actually say, okay, let me volunteer myself. If you work on an organization already that has product managers, it will be to volunteer your time to join them and see what they do and ask them to say, please, I want to join you. What are you doing right now? Let me be involved. Or you volunteer yourself. You go on LinkedIn, Twitter, you find different opportunities too, so that you can learn, have opportunity to actually launch, have hands-on experience on product development. And then opportunities will come. Definitely that will come for sure. And you're in a very good community right now. So you will not have any problem with that. So I hope that helps.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much. He said he will appreciate the recommendations as well, but this helps a great deal. Thank you so much. Also, Mololuwa, we had a portfolio challenge earlier on this year at Workmate, and that would have been another amazing opportunity for you to try your hands on real-time projects. So just remain in the community. Opportunities like this come up and you can participate in them. So I will be taking the second question and the last questions from Omar and Praise. So Omar, you have like 30 seconds to ask your question. Then Mr. Richard will answer you briefly, and then we'll go to Praise and yeah. So Omar.
Yes, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I just want to ask, as a product manager, do you really need to understand the technical aspect of development? Is it a major requirement?
It's not a major requirement, but I can tell you from experience that it does help when you are implementing a product. So when I started, I had a degree in computer science. I hated coding. When I say I hated coding, I hated it. But the first company I joined made me to even be like, no, if you're going to be working with engineers, you need to code. So I had to do coding for a while. I didn't like it. But what I found is that you need to be at least a bit technical to engage them, especially when you're dealing with very complex products. So it's not a requirement from the get-go, but you need to learn it quickly by engaging the developers and engineers. So when my earlier part of my career, I was very close with them. I'll come and ask them questions. That's how I began to understand at the time XML and SOAP APIs before everybody went to rest. I know all these things now. I can use Postman, David, and understand all these things. I can fire calls to an API. All these things I didn't know before, but I had to learn because what I found is that it made interaction with the engineers much easier. So they can't come and bobo me and tell me this thing will take 4 weeks. I'll be like, oh, Benny, look at the parameters here. Look at the request. Look at the response. Use the response here and do this thing. So that kind of thing. Now they know that this guy knows. I may not know everything, but at least I understand some of those things. So it helps you. But when you don't know these things, and you find that they will push you around a lot, depending on the kind of organization that you are, I may not be very effective. So it's not a requirement, but when you do get the opportunity, please, you need to get technical as quickly as possible. It makes your life much easier. Okay, I hope that's helpful.
Fantabulous. Makes sense. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard. Yes. So finally, Praise. Okay, I think Mr. Praise is maybe having technical difficulties and all, but we are pressed for time, so we might not be able to wait on him. So, Praise, in case you can hear this, you have the window to write your message in the in-call messages, and should Mr. Richards still be around, he will attend to it. And yeah, so Mr. Richards, we are very grateful to you for this immersive session you've had with us. This is quite in depth. You took us through a product management masterclass in less than 40 minutes, and that's quite phenomenal. Thank you so much. You've shared a lot, and we've picked a lot of value from it. Please, let's appreciate Mr. Yeah, makes sense. Let's appreciate him. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate your time with us. So, okay, so I think I may just give 1 or 2 other minutes for anybody who has another question to ask. There is a window of help now. So in case there's any other question, I think we can entertain it in a minute or 2 before we jump right into the second session. Thank you, Mr. Richard. The honor is ours. We really appreciate it. Okay, yes. Very important. Mr. Richards, people are asking how they could easily connect with you. So I believe Mr. Richards will drop his LinkedIn handle, or most likely his email also, in the chat session. He's very receptive of intentional, serious learners, especially on LinkedIn. So I believe in your message when you are writing to him on LinkedIn, just tell him that you met him at Workmate's acceleration workshop, and yeah, that will get you in. So phenomenal. His LinkedIn address is right in the in-message section. Thank you so much for the privilege, sir. All right, and his email address has dropped too. That was a great one. We'll be moving into the next. I hope your belts are well tightened. I hope your pens are ready and you're ready for this. We'll be having Mr. Stephen Paul take us on talent acquisition and retention and ways to foster a culture of innovation in a startup space. So briefly, let me tell you about Mr. Paul. So Mr. Stephen Edache Paul is a computer scientist based in Nigeria with a bachelor's degree in computer science from Federal University, Lokoja. Mr. Stephen has carved a niche for himself in the tech community as both an educator, developer, and leader. His thesis on the instant procurement of cryptocurrency using influencers' tweets showcases his innovative approach to leveraging social media data for financial technology. Currently serving as an adjunct lecturer and head of training and strategy at Thomas Adeomi University, Stephen is passionate about imparting knowledge and fostering problem-solving skills in his students. He has also been deeply involved with the Google developer community, where he has significantly contributed as a mentor, organizer, and facilitator. I'm not seeing celebrations here. Stephen Edache is an adept community leader and tech educator based in Abuja, Nigeria. His significant contributions to fostering startup ecosystems shine through his role as the director of Startup Grind Abuja. Amazing. Through these platforms, Stephen has been instrumental in mentoring and supporting early stage startups, providing them with valuable insights, resources, and networking opportunities. His efforts are centered around empowering entrepreneurs to innovate and scale their ventures in a challenging and dynamic market. His leadership extends beyond academia into volunteering with various tech initiatives and contributing to the development of the Nigerian Startup Act. His commitment to technology is evident in his active participation in tech conferences, workshops, where he often speaks on integrating technology for sustainable development. And in his downtime, he enjoys mentoring young tech enthusiasts and exploring the latest in machine learning and cloud computing, aiming to keep at the forefront of technological advancement and innovation. What a portfolio. Amazing. It's our rare privilege and honor to have you, Mr. Stephen Adache, here with us. Thank you so much. And the floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Good evening, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So, should in case you're unable to hear me, please do it to reach out to me or call my attention to it. Okay. Are you still there?
Yes,
we can hear you.
we are.
Okay, awesome. So, thanks so much for the invite. There will be a little kind of delays technically from my end because I am currently on transit. Right. So, the topic for today is talent acquisition and retention. Serving a culture of innovation for putting this together. It's one of the trend lately that they don't know how to manage talents that they have with them currently. And these talents with so much great skills and experiences, they go back to their home to work remotely. Imagine a senior developer at Google being laid off and going back to work, a senior developer working with Google and earning as high as 70K dollars per month, going back home because he's been laid off, going back home to work with small startups and earning something below $3,000 per month. So these are the issues that happens within organization. Recently, if you're following up with the trend as well, you notice that um, Microsoft recently laid off people in the African development. People are change makers who are on the limelight to give back to the community and build sustainable development, a sustainable ecosystem for people. We need to understand how to manage talent, retain them, and also giving them a conducive ecosystem for them to exercise what they know.
Hello, Mr. Stephen.
So that means
Hello, sir. I think your audio is not coming out as strong. I believe it's part of the technical difficulties you talked about earlier on. So right now we can't hear you, just in case you can hear us. Hello, Mr. Stephen. Can any other person in the meeting hear me so that I'll be sure it's not Oh, okay. So yes, I think Mr. Steven is having technical difficulties. He might need to leave, and yeah, he's left. He will likely rejoin, and we'll see how we can pick it up from there. So if you are yet to connect with Mr. Richards on LinkedIn, this could be a good opportunity for you to do that. His LinkedIn URL is right there in the in-message of this call. So just tap on it and send a connection request right away while we wait for Mr. Steven to join us back. All right. If you've connected with him, indicate with an emoji. Okay, makes sense. Let me share my own emoji too. So David, myself, Umar, Mary, Kenny, Daniel, Messi. Okay, great. Okay, nice. Okay, phenomenal. Also, during the course of the accelerator, we encourage everyone to connect with each other. So most times we notice that the community page on WhatsApp is very dry. There's no communication unless it's coming from the team, right? That's not really our plan. We intend that you get to know yourselves. From the introductions that happened earlier on, we know that there are event managers here in Abuja, tech community, um, personnel, their CEOs, and all of that. So this is a rare opportunity for us to get to know each other, connect one another, build strategic partnerships that will help product development or any entrepreneurial venture at large, right? So on WhatsApp, do well to chat one another, try to understand what you're doing, and ask for how you'll be able to contribute or collaborate with one another, right? So Richard spoke about that earlier on. So share your ideas. It will help you know. In fact, it's a form of validation. You can use your teammates as your survey and get to pick their brains on what they think about what you're working on, what they think you can improve, and all of that. So do well to do that. We are noticing that Mr. Steven is having some technical difficulties, just like he said earlier on during his initial time. So we might be forced to reschedule him for another time. We'll communicate that information to each and every one of us through the chat session of our page on WhatsApp. So keep your phones handy. Everyone who registered for this event wasn't able to make it to our session this evening. So it's your responsibility to let them know what they missed out on the chat session. Also, make noise about this on your social media. Share what you learned today. Tag Mr. Richards, tag Workmate, tag anybody that you can tag, and continue to share as best as you can to empower your community with the knowledge that you've learned and also build new networks from that. I think I just noticed that Mr. Steven joined. So Steven, how is your connection now? Can we continue, or would you like for us to reschedule your session for a more convenient time?
Okay, I'll be grateful if we could reschedule because it's still going to happen. Forget to continue the section.
All right. That's all right. We understand. Thank you for making our time to join us, not minding the complexities of your engagement. So we'll do it to reschedule and communicate that with you and also our tribe, who are very much pumped to receive from the knowledge that you'll be sharing with us. All right. Ideally, after Mr. Steven's session, we're meant to have a feedback, question and answer or feedback session. So, should you have any comments to make about today's session, what you'd like us to improve on, what you think we could do, you could just raise your hands and I'll give you an opportunity to share that in a couple of minutes before I invite our Chief of Operations to officially close us today for our day session. Okay. All right. Umar, yeah, please unmute and speak.
Well, everything went well. I was just hyping the program. We started very well. So, like, well done.
All right, thank you. That's an amazing feedback and we appreciate it. So most times in Africa, when people ask for feedback, we automatically expect criticism and think that when we give feedback is only when we want something bad to have happened or we notice something bad happen. But it's good culture to see all of the reactions and also to hear Umar speak positively about the session, and that makes us happy. We appreciate that. So I'd just invite Mrs. Mary to close us for today.
Hi, you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear your beautiful voice.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Thank you for your showing and success for those thank you for being a part of this program. Thank you for your success active participation today. I appreciate all the energy and dedication that you all put into attending this program, and I am looking forward to having you guys all through the entire program. It's going to run for 5 weeks and 5 Fridays, and I'm really looking forward to we all growing and learning together. So this is an opportunity for growth, and I encourage you guys to take it seriously because I'm also taking it seriously because we all learn and grow together. So thank you and see you in the upcoming sessions. Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much, guys. Our date remains. So see you on Friday. And in the chat session, you are free to leave the meeting now. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard. You stayed with us to the very end. It means a whole lot to us. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
All right, bye, sir. Thank you, guys. We see your reactions. Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. Go and have your dinner and rest well. This is how we know those who have been in the meeting and those who just turned us on and left.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, you are here. All right. Thank you, ma. Bye-bye.